Hey guys, so I'm filming this video. I mentioned before that I was going to do a kind of a story time about a really bad hotel visit I had right before my senior year prom. So I was on the Quizable team in high school. I was on the Quizable team for almost like all throughout my schooling actually, and I was the team captain for 3 years. So my senior year, we made it to state, and we decided to get a hotel room down in Cabot, Arkansas, which is a small town right next to the Capitol. However, the hotel options that we had were less than satisfactory, and I knew I needed like a really good hotel room. One, because I hate like the idea of like I hate hotels in general, but like the idea of like a really gross hotel like just crawls up my spine. And then on top of that, I was looking at the pictures of the first hotel we picked, and I was like, no, these are smoking rooms, like no. And I'm like, I went up to my coach and I was like, it's not gonna happen. I have prom the next day. I have to have like a clean hotel room to get dressed in. So the competition was on the day of prom for me. So it was a little stressful for me because Cabot is 3.5 hours away from my home, which is more time driving than my school to my home, which is weird because we're on my hometown is on the border of Arkansas, Missouri, or not on the border, but pretty close to the border. So it comes to the day of, I just get done with a recital. I'm literally packing up from the recital, putting my stuff in the coach's like rental van or whatever, and it's me and my teammates. All my teammates are younger than me, and they're also all boys, so I'm kind of like the mom of the group. We're all packing up. I'm still in competition, like not competition, but recital mode. I have like full makeup on, and I also recently hurt my foot, and so I was kind of like hurting from that because during recital it was just a whole thing of like, this hurts and this sucks, I hate doing this, and then moving straight into that. So I get all my stuff in the car. We're looking for somebody, and I just remember like, we're not gonna make it down there on a good time. And then we started leaving. I put in headphones. I just ignore everyone because these are like sophomore to freshman boys. Like, it's gonna be hell, either way. I'm a senior. And the reason we didn't have a lot of other seniors on the team is because a lot of seniors get really busy, and also the other kids my age just kind of decided they didn't want to do it anymore after my freshman and sophomore year. My freshman year, it was just freshmen and seniors, and we actually did really well for being just freshmen and seniors and not having anybody else. I think we had 3-4 seniors on the team that year, but so they graduated, and then it was just all sophomores, and then they ended up bumping up. So the way Quizable works is 4 to a team, and they ended up bumping up to 5 to a team, and we were behind a kid. So we competed without like the minimum, and still did pretty well, I would say, for having all sophomores and below the minimum. And then I think it was my junior year, maybe it was my senior year too, but it was the same year, I had the same team my junior and senior year because we didn't have any new kids or any kids who graduated because I was a junior and then senior. And then when I graduated, the next oldest kid, he became the captain, and I don't know how they've been doing this year, but hopefully it's really good. So we competed, and I knew we weren't gonna do any pretty good at all. Like, I told them, I'm like, okay, so we're gonna be losing, just keep your head up, but like lose with pride. Like, this is practice. We're gonna really hardcore nail it during regionals. It's gonna be great. Like, just use this as a practice time, we ended up getting 4th in that competition to a bunch of private schools, which I was blown away at. Like, I was like, wow, like, we're doing really well. And I told them just how shocked and proud I was. Like, we crushed some teams by like 200 points. And I was shocked. So then came regionals my senior year. We did the same thing where we actually made it to state. And I was so happy and so excited. However, state was the same day as prom. So we get down there after 3.5 hours of driving and pit stops and, whatever, and we decide to eat at, I think it was Chick-fil-A. So we eat, and then we go to the hotel, and I am immediately horrified when I see this hotel. It is a rundown Days Inn and Suites, and it's a motel, and every single door is, like, different on this motel. Like, some are, like, green, and some are, like, crooked, and I was like, oh my lord, like, this is gonna be the worst night ever. And we get to our rooms. It's on the bottom floor, which is even worse because, like, that's the floor that people rob because it's the easiest to access. So, I have my own room because I'm the only girl, and I'm also the team captain. There's 2 beds in my room. The boys told me that they didn't have a doorknob on their bathroom and the shower didn't work, and I wasn't even going to attempt to shower. I showered that morning, and I was just like, okay, like, hopefully this holds me to prom the next night, like, I'm not going to do it, spray some dry shampoo in my hair, kind of thing. I didn't even, I looked at the bathroom once, used the restroom, hovered it, and then closed that door and never opened it again. The walls were so thin, I could hear my coach, because the way of the rooms, it was me, coach, and then the boys. I could hear my coach and the boys all the way on the other side. At some point in the night, I made sure that every single lock was locked. At some point in the night, there was some, crackhead outside, dancing and screaming around, and I kind of, looked through that peephole, and I was like, oh my gosh, and he was, right outside my, door, just kind of, doing, that thing. I was so freaked out. I texted in our group chat, hey, by the way, make sure your doors are locked. There's, a druggie outside kind of doing his own thing. I don't know what, just make sure you're safe kind of thing. But everyone was kind of asleep by then. When I went to go to bed, I checked the first bed, and there was cigarette, burns into the sheets, and I was like, oh. And I checked it for bed bugs too, and I made sure I had my shoes on the entire time, because I was like, I'm not going barefoot in here, and I made sure my baggages were up on the table, so I checked it for bed bugs. It didn't seem like it had any, and I kept fully clothed that night too. I didn't even change the pajamas. I was just like, I'm gonna wear jeans, and I'm gonna sleep like this. I'm gonna sleep like this, So I checked that one. I was like, oh, there's cigarette burns. I'm gonna check the other bed. The other bed was, no joke, crusty. The sheets flaked, and I was like, I don't want to know. I don't want to know. I plugged my phone in the wall. I called a friend, and I was just like, okay, you're gonna have to talk to me throughout this entire night because this is disturbing. And so I ended up falling asleep around 2 a.m. and then we were up at 6. Well, okay. I was up at 6 because I didn't sleep well. I got up and I started curling my hair and getting some makeup done. I did full prom makeup and hair that morning to go to the competition. And I also kind of dressed up a little bit because we always had a tradition of looking nice for the other teams. My freshman year, I was labeled the distraction for the other teams, which I always thought was a little sexist, but I mean, boys will be boys. So I get up and I do full prom makeup and hair, and I'm currently curling my hair. My mom's texting me to make sure I'm up, and then the boys are texting the group chat hey, there's breakfast, blah blah, and I'm like, but it's 2 muffins, and I get knocks on the door, and I'm like, okay, it's the boys, right? And so I just ignore it, and I'm keep curling my hair because I can't move with the curling iron still in my hair, and I uncurl it, I let it loose, and then I get another bang on the door, and I'm like, oh my gosh. So I go and I said, excuse you, and he's like, I'm just making sure you're awake. Okay. I'm like, okay, and I shut the door and I lock it again, and I go back to curling my hair, and then another bang on the door, and I was like, okay, you obviously, I opened up the door, and me and the junior on the team, we weren't best of friends, and I said, you obviously don't have any sisters, please leave me alone, I'm doing my hair, I am awake, okay? And I tried to be as nice as possible, but it was 7 a.m. and I'm trying to get dressed, I am fully awake, I was awake before anybody else, leave me alone. So then I keep curling my hair, and then another bang on the door, and I can hear the other boys outside like, dude, leave her alone. So we go to the competition. We get like 5th in state, which is pretty good. I was just trying to get knocked out, like, so we could go home, which is not like the best. Like, I understand, like, we need to do our best, but like at the same time, like, I knew we weren't gonna make it past the first or second elimination round, and I think we made it past the first elimination round, but not the second. So at that point, like, we're like, okay, we're gonna go straight home. We're gonna make only one stop, make it a good stop, you know, kind of thing. Because that's 3.5 hours plus the stop time, so about like 3 and 45 minutes. And I was looking at the time, and I was like, okay, if it's 3.5 hours from here, like, I'm gonna make it. Like, I'll have time for dinner, and then I'll make it to prom on time. So I ended up not being able to take pictures, but the 3.5 hour drive was the world's longest drive for me because I'm anxious about time. These boys are so annoying, and some of them are a little upset about not winning, and they knew they weren't gonna win first in state, but and I was getting a headache, and I just wanted to be home. I just wanted to be home. So I finally get to my house at like 6:30, I think, maybe 7, and my group chat is blowing up about like we can't all sit down unless everyone's there, and I'm like texting my date, and he was my like best friend, like, hey, I'm at home, come on by, like, hurry up, like, we gotta get to the restaurant, and like my friends are getting mad because I'm not there yet, and I'm like, I just got back in town, like, you can wait 5 minutes for me to put on my dress, right? So I run in, I throw on my dress, my mom is like trying to put in earrings for me, and I'm like kind of like brushing out my hair, making sure my makeup looks fine because I kind of redid it on the way there. And then I go outside, and my best friend's there, and we take like 3 pictures, and his mom is like trying to take as many pictures as possible, and we get in the car and we go. We get to the restaurant, and everyone seeming to have like a really great time, and I was like the stress of competing is over. It really felt like the ending of Mean Girls when she gets back from the competition, like the mathletes, and she goes straight to the dance. Like, that's what it felt like. So I'm talking with all the girls, and I get a text like, hey, meet us in the bathroom. And so all the girls get up, and we go, and apparently one of the dates was kind of stepping his boundaries and being a little creepy, so we dealt with that night as well. But prom altogether was a lot of fun. It was my favorite prom, considering the circumstances. My junior prom is a whole nother story time, and yeah, like, I wouldn't trade it for the world, that experience, even though, like, I wish we stayed in a way better hotel. 100%. I don't like gross hotels. I prefer like Hiltons and Marriott's, and that's it, or like high-end hotels that, you know, like, they pull out every stop kind of thing. Like, if I'm gonna pick a hotel, it's gonna be like a Hilton, you know, like, I don't want a Days and Suites, but yeah, that's kind of my horror story. Subscribe if you haven't, press that like button down below, and go follow my Instagram and my Twitter. All of those ads are down below as well. Hope you have a great day. Bye.